Hey, it's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We thank you for joining us again. Our guest is Neil Derry. Neil is a member of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
San Bernardino is doing everything it can to try to clean up what's gone on over the last few years. I know you've been working very hard, and there's one area that you spearheaded. It was passed in December, and it deals with leave time for exempt employees. Why don't you explain the whole issue most generally?
Well, most people, when they have a job, do have vacation time that they can accrue a certain number of hours every year, but it's capped, so that it's not a liability to the company. We provide vacation time so that people can take time away from the job and decompress and come back to work rejuvenated and do a better job. At the county, for exempt employees, we've had
an exempt employee is not hourly?
A non-classified employee. They're still hourly, they're still paid hourly, and their vacation is still accrued hourly, but they are people who are at will. They can be fired at any time. They're not union represented.
I understand.
So they were allowed to accrue hundreds of hours of vacation time and then cash them out towards their retirement at the end. And
would that affect pensions as well?
It did.
Wow.
It would also spike their pension, which causes a long-term liability to the county. But the other thing is, oftentimes people would accrue these hours early in their career, so that at a lower pay rate, but they'd be paid out at the higher pay rate when they retire. That's just not right.
So that has been changed.
That's been changed.
Explain what the exact change is.
We capped it at 400 hours, which is still a significant amount of time, but it will reduce the liability to the county long-term and millions of dollars.
Do you have a sense of a number? Have there been estimates?
Well, up to, I think, $1.5 million a year.
Which is significant. Yeah, I mean, that's what's the county's budget?
Well, our discretionary budget is about $400 million.
But still, I mean, look, in these tough economic times,
every nickel counts.
And especially when you're looking at pensions, because pensions really, I mean, if you look at the studies and the statistics in California, and even at the county and city level, pensions are the bane of government's existence at this stage.
They're going to be difficult for us to deal with in the future, and they're most of our budget deficit in the coming years.
I want to ask about reaching voters. You have a pretty large district.
Yes.
Very spread out. Not as big as Brad's, who's a little farther east. He goes all the way to the Arizona-Nevada border. But still, it's not like one of these tight LA districts.
No.
And so one way that you are trying to reach your constituents is through Facebook.
Absolutely.
Tell me about how Neil Derry, young hip Neil Derry, is using Facebook.
Well, we've been expanding our Facebook page. We used it actually during the recent flooding to provide updates to the community. They come up and find out which roads were closed.
Smart.
Other information that was important to the communities.
Does Neil Derry have a Twitter feed?
We do. We have used that in the past as well. But the Facebook page has been really where we've been focusing on.
Really explain to me. I mean, I know how it helps Ashton Kutcher. I understand that. But how does it help Neil Derry to be working through social media?
It's one more avenue to reach the public, particularly the younger public, but you'd be surprised how many of the older generations are actually engaging in Facebook and other technologies.
Oh, my high school drama teacher just friended me on Facebook, so no doubt. We hear a lot about redistricting. We now know a state commission, independent, is going to draw lines for state offices and for federal offices.
Correct.
In San Bernardino County, though, it's done internally for the supervisorial seats, but lines are going to change.
They will change. About 3 of the districts have to grow, and 2 districts have to shrink dramatically.
So they have to grow because they lost population. They have to shrink because they gained population.
Actually, we all gained population. Some of us didn't gain as much as others.
What about the 3rd district?
3rd district has to grow by about 25,000 in people and population.
So who are you stealing constituents from?
Well, I think the Morongo Basin will come completely into the district. That would come from Brad Nitzelfeld's district from the 1st.
Neil, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
I'm
Brad Pomerance. Thanks for joining us. Back to HLN.
Today, everything you need to be entertained is ready and waiting right inside your home. Thanks to Charter Digital Cable. Sign up and you get over 100 of the most popular channels, all in crystal clear quality and sound. Plus an easy-to-use program guide that makes it simple to find all your favorites. More drama, more news, more laughs for less. Suddenly, staying in is in again. Bring your home to life with Charter Digital Cable. Call today.